I have so much respect and admiration and love for Coach Sutton. I've had an opportunity to observe him. He's certainly been my mentor, and other than my dad, he's been the most influential person in terms of shaping my philosophy, not only with basketball, but how you treat other people.
You'll find fellows that are very successful in basketball coaching using the principles that Eddie got to a great extent from Mr. Iba, and has passed them on to a legion of young coaches that are out there today.
When he recruits a student athlete to come to Oklahoma State and play for us, he always tells their mother or their dad or their parents that I'm going to treat your son just like he's my own. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to get on him. I'm going to push him to be the best basketball player he can become. I'm going to push him to be the best student he can become. And when he leaves Oklahoma State, he's going to be a man.
It's a great day for me and for Oklahoma State, and I'm so happy they're home and back home where they belong.
I was like a little boy on Christmas morning, walking down when you first, that anticipation of seeing what's under the Christmas tree. And that's the feeling that I had, and I still have. I'm excited.
April 11, 1990. What an orange letter day that turned out to be for Oklahoma State University. Eddie Sutton returned to his alma mater, and in the process, Cowboy basketball returned to the ranks of the nation's elite. As he has said so many times over the last 13 years, being back in Stillwater has been a real honeymoon for him and his family.
Again, I'm just thrilled to be the new basketball coach at Oklahoma State.
Eddie Sutton's numbers at Oklahoma State and over his 33 years on the Division I level clearly support the claim that he is truly one of the best to ever coach the college round ball sport. He is the 13th winningest coach in NCAA Division I history and the 4th winningest active coach with 724 victories. His 294 wins at OSU rank just second to his one-time coach and longtime friend and mentor, the legendary Henry Iba. A 4-time National Coach of the Year and one of just 2 coaches nationally to ever win Coach of the Year awards in 4 different conferences, he will someday be enshrined in the National Basketball Hall of Fame. Since 1990, he has taken the Cowboys to the NCAA tournament 11 times, to the Sweet 16 on 4 occasions, to the Elite 8 twice, and to the Final Four. That appearance coming in 1995, when OSU was ranked 4th as well.
I think young people don't understand the tradition of this Oklahoma State program. I mean, they were one of the giants of college basketball back in the 40s and 50s under Henry Iba. And now a graduate of Oklahoma State, Eddie Sutton, has brought his team back to the Final Four.
And I remember when I went back to school before Mr. Iba died, and we talked about someday maybe getting Oklahoma State back to the Final Four. And I know he's looking down right now, and he'd be very proud of this group of young men. I thought they really competed hard this afternoon.
The Cowboys have finished in the top 3 of the conference 8 times since he returned and has finished in the top 5 in all but one season. This past year, he guided Oklahoma State to 22 wins, a 6th straight trip to the Big Dance, and to 10 victories in the toughest basketball conference in the country. The Cowboys finished 4th after the preseason experts predicted they would do no better than 6th. But Eddie Sutton is so much more than wins and national recognition. As great a coach and teacher of the game that he's been and continues to be, he's an even better person.
Well, I think everyone recognizes that he is one of the best basketball coaches of all time. Going to be a Hall of Famer, and you get a lot of publicity for that. And a lot of times, people do not want the publicity for what they do, off the court. And I think he's a great example of that. The hours that he spends going to speak to groups for charity, going to the hospital to visit friends, to visit supporters, sending flowers to people, sending notes, telegrams. These are countless things that he does on a daily basis above and beyond his job as basketball coach at Oklahoma State. He's been great for the game of basketball, but he certainly utilized his status to help a lot of other people and a lot of people who are less fortunate, and he really loves doing that. He doesn't like a lot of attention for that, and I've been amazed over the years how he remembers and recognizes and follows up with people who would like to have just someone take time to say hello, and he does that very willingly.
He, as I say, has been a credit to the profession and a credit to humanity. All the time that he's been here, as far as I can tell, he's one dedicated man, not only to his game of basketball, but to society in general, and a very caring person for practically everybody he comes in contact with.
He requires excellence both on and off the court. He wants those who play and coach for him to be prepared for the future. 12 former assistants have become Division I head coaches. He has sent 23 players to the NBA. But the real success stories can be found in all walks of life.
I think one of the classic examples of taking a young man that had what I would say very little basketball talent when he got here and turning him into a professional basketball player was Bryant Reeves. And I remember when Mr. Iba was at a practice when the first November that Bryant, as a freshman, went out and ran up and down the court. And Mr. Iba turned to Eddie and he says, "You've got a lot of work ahead of you, son." And he was absolutely right. But Eddie did the job, and Brian not only turned out to be a very successful basketball player, but has been a real credit to his family and to his parents and grandparents and to his children now.
Well, one of the reasons that he's been so successful on the basketball court and the reason he is such a tremendous individual is his ability to relate to people. And I think one of the signs of greatness is not only longevity, being in a profession for a long period of time, but the second is being able to adjust to the young people who have certainly changed over the years. I can look back when I started with him in 1981, certainly things were different, but he's done a wonderful job in adjusting and relating. He understands what they're going through, what their problems are, very sensitive to those, but at the same time, he's really stuck with his beliefs and what is right, discipline, doing the right thing, and understanding that he not only provides great leadership, but he sets a positive example for these young men on a daily basis.
I think the people that have the opportunity to be around him appreciate, the type of person that he is day in and day out. I think the players that have played for him, leave knowing how much he cares about them, how much he taught them about life beyond basketball, how he prepared them to be successful after their playing days are over with. And to the outsider, sometimes they probably don't see him. They just see the guy with the scowl on his face over there on the sideline, never happy with his team, never happy with the officials. But he's a very giving person and a very caring person.
This unprecedented success has not changed Eddie Sutton. He will always hold on dearly to the two areas of his life that matter the most: his faith and his family.
Well, he always put his family first. He's always a very hard worker, and from that standpoint, I think set a great example for my two other brothers, Scott, Steve, and myself, about the foundation of hard work if you were going to be good at anything. All of us, my brothers and myself, have great respect for the man that he's become and really admire the person and the grandfather and the father that he is, more so than the basketball coach.
One of the most rewarding parts of the coaching profession is the long-lasting relationships formed with players. As Eddie Sutton has said from day one, once a young man joins his basketball family, he becomes a member of his family for life.
Well, Eddie's a very caring person. He takes a very decided interest not only in the players, but in the players' families, and establishes a tremendously good relationship with the mothers and the fathers and the grandmothers, the parents of the kids, and Eddie has been a surrogate father for all of them and has been able to, as it were, engender the things that they needed to know, the discipline they needed to have, not only for basketball, but for getting along in life after they get out of here. And every one of them is going to get a degree this May. And this, to me, speaks very highly. Eddie's always done a good job of encouraging the young men to go ahead and get their degree.
Well, if you were to ask him, his greatest thrill in coaching is not, winning his 700th game or beating Oklahoma or getting to the Final Four. The thing that I think he relishes the most is when one of his former players pick up the phone and calls him and tells him about his family and how they're doing and tells him, thank you for making this happen for me, the difference that you made in my life. And I think he's always found that to be much more rewarding than any win.
Those who have had the privilege to play and work for Eddie Sutton know how important it is to give back to the community. While his day never seems to have enough hours, especially during the season, he is never too busy to offer his total support.
Well, it's certainly been a special opportunity and honor for me to know Coach Sutton since 1981, and he was very involved in the community in Fayetteville and in the state of Arkansas with charities, and certainly the Big Brothers and Big Sisters was something that he really promoted. They had a roast in his honor in Little Rock, and certainly raised a lot of money for that charity, and he's always felt it very important to give back to the community, and Big Brothers and Big Sisters was something that he really promoted and did a great deal of work for while he was at Arkansas.
Any place my parents have lived, they've always felt like it was their responsibility, and they wanted to be very active and very involved in what was going on in the community, and whether it be fundraising efforts or charitable work. It was something that they felt very strongly about and were committed to making an impact in the community that they lived in.
To be sure, he has revived the Oklahoma State basketball program. The Cowboys posted their 6th 20-win season in a row this past year, and 11th in the 13 years that Eddie Sutton has been the head man. The Cowboys have averaged 23 wins a year since 1991. To put that in perspective, OSU won as many as 17 games just 4 times in the previous 25 campaigns. Oklahoma State has been to the NCAA tournament 20 times. As mentioned, 11 of those appearances have come under the direction of Eddie Sutton. Again, over the previous 25 years, the Cowboys played in the Big Dance just once and had just 7 winning efforts over that same span. While he's made several stops along the way, the 44-year journey has been a model of consistency. No success on or off the court has come without hard work, discipline, or passion. Without question, these are the qualities that have kept Eddie Sutton forever young.